What up there, ladies and gentlemen? Today I'm here with a little bit of a different video. I got my new bike, especially after my crash. I'm trying to come back with some new stuff, something else to look at, something that can get y'all excited, something that can get me excited. But not only that, I want to kind of up my production a bit. So what's the best way to do that? By getting some new cameras. Well, I was going through a dilemma. Long story short, for the longest, I was looking at the GoPro 11, then the GoPro 12 came out. I was looking at that. Somebody I was riding with, Simply Nate, if I'm correct, he said he had the GoPro 11 or 12, can't remember. It might have been the 12. Showed me some clips. I'm like, that looks nice. And I was set. I was going to get the GoPro 12. So time came by. I built this lovely bike back here. Had some extra money, and now it's time to buy a new camera. But for the longest, as I've been doing research on these cameras, the GoPro 12 mainly, I seen the DJI. At the time, I only seen the 3. Was not impressed. Found out they came out with the Action 4, and it was a not bad camera, but I don't know, quality wise I felt the GoPro 12 was better. But then in the corner of my eyes, after looking at all these DJI and GoPro videos, I saw a new competitor, and that was apparently the Insta360 Ace Pro. Did some research on it, looked at mad videos, and I was quite impressed. There's some things that I liked better about the GoPro compared to the Ace Pro. The things I liked better about the Ace Pro. But one main problem I was having is with these things I was looking at, there's always something to sacrifice. I just still couldn't make the decision on which camera I wanted to get. And it made it even harder to decide what camera I wanted to get when I don't know if it's just me, it just felt like every video on the Ace Pro was sponsored. Majority of them were only comparing to the GoPro. And then half the time, they were making the GoPro look very bad. I wasn't sure if they were making the Ace Pro look good. I don't know if that's something you can do in post-processing, but I did not like how the GoPro 12 was looking in their videos compared to other regular smaller channel videos. It was sometimes looking so bad even in those low light comparisons. I'm like, there's no way that the GoPro 12 looks worse than my GoPro 9. I like the setup I got here. So you know what? I got tired of looking at these videos. Couldn't decide. These videos just didn't feel real. They felt a little too scammy. They didn't feel legit. Too much sponsoring going on, too much. I'm not sponsored, but they did send the camera. You're sponsored. Couldn't decide, couldn't make the decision. It was just too much of a struggle. So I fucked around and got both. So with that being said, before I say anything else, yes, I know everybody else said this, but this is not sponsored. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and show you some proof. I'm gonna show you the order history right now. All right, this is the Amazon order history. You see the Ace Pro, you see the GoPro, and I can't scroll up too far, all right, because I ain't trying to give out my address and all that. But if I just scroll up a little bit, you would see the taxes. I paid a grand total of $922.86 right out of my goddamn bank account, okay? So I once wondered why I even felt like the I'm not sponsored people still seem sponsored with this camera. Now, during recording this video, I didn't know of such thing, but now that I'm editing this video, I came across this video right here, where apparently sponsored people are being told to say that they're not sponsored. So now that you see that I spent about $922 goddamn dollars for these cameras, including the SD cards, this video is not sponsored. I can say whatever the hell I want about these two cameras. This GoPro, this Ace Pro. You know what, as a matter of fact, fuck Ace Pro, fuck Insta360, fuck GoPro 2. You know what? Fuck you. So now that I got both these cameras for myself, it's about time I can do the proper testing that I want to do. Now, before we get into all that, as you can already tell, this is about to be a decently talkative video. I'm going to do my test, but I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, a lot of opinions, and a lot of asking y'all how y'all feel. As a guy who has his bikes, my camera is a huge proportion of motovlogging. Honestly, as of right now, it's about 70 to 80% motovlogging. I build projects when I can, but after I'm done, I ride them everywhere. I only build projects ever so often. Therefore, I know these cameras got a lot of little features in them, but honestly, I just want to test these in a motovlogging perspective. So all the hyperlapse and time lapse and all the other shit that these got, the star warps and the AI warping, making you looking like the Terminator, I'm not gonna fuck around with that. I'm sure this is not the first video y'all seen of these comparisons, so I don't need to show y'all that anyways. I'm sure you already know what's up with these cameras. But I just wanna do a simple motovlogging test. And that is a simple motovlogging quality test and what features you can use for motovlogging that you might want from these two cameras. Hope the camera view is still good. I did have to move it because this phone will overheat if the sunlight is on it for too long. But anyways, with that being said, I want to run y'all through the test that I'm going to do with these two cameras. So first and foremost, for anyone who's going to take these right out the box and not touch a single testing, they don't want to do all that. You just want to know what quality you're going to expect out of these cameras too, right out the box. With that being said, I'm going to do a stock setting test. We're just going to see how they are right out the box, and I'm not going to touch a single setting. So if one happens to be a little better than the other, that's just how it is. But with that being said, with those stock setting testing, of course, I absolutely have to take these two and not only compare them to each other, but to compare them to my old GoPro 9, if you can see it right here. Because at the end of the day, I still have to make sure not only which camera is better than the other, but are they even worth the upgrade over my GoPro 9 that I've been using for the last 3 years. So with the camera test, the way I'm gonna do them, I got 3 different tests I wanna do. One, I'm gonna go around my area. As you can see, the mountains in the background. I live here in the desert. So I'm gonna go around this road I love to go around and do kind of my old loop where we go around the mountains and we get a good look at the warm, tannish, brownish, reddish, rocky, sandy colors. Then I'm gonna head to an area where there's a lot of grass so we can get some nice bright green grass for some vivid color testing between these cameras. Then the last test will be stabilization. Then we're gonna do all of that again in low light. And then after we do all of that again in low light, we're gonna do that whole thing, including daylight and low light, and custom settings for all the people who are expecting to take these cameras right out the box, tweak them a bit in those manual settings, and see if you can see what's the best setting you can get out of these cameras. Even with that being said, speaking of custom settings, if you watch my channel for a while and you've always seen my videos and you may have thought these look really good, I'm here to tell you now, I do no post-processing, no color grading. I really don't know how to do that shit. I've never done it before. If it's easy, I wouldn't know because I've never done it. So not only have you been seeing for the longest amount of time raw video footage and color out of this camera, you'll be seeing it the same with these two. So once again, no post-processing, no color grading. And again, all those stock and custom settings will be comparing to the GoPro 9. I've said that one more time because of course I gotta make sure it's even worth the upgrade. And after we do all those tests, I wanna know, I'm gonna tell y'all my opinions, I'm gonna ask y'all your opinions. I'm gonna be asking throughout the entire test. So with all that being said, if I'm correct, I got everything I want to say for this intro out the way. Let's get into it. Starting off with the stock settings. Let's head on the bobber and let's hit the road. All right, so here we are, the road test. We're on the road now and we're on the GoPro 9. So let's talk about, it's gonna stick it at 4K. And y'all let me know how it's looking. So here we go, GoPro 12. For this, we're on the standard settings. For this test, I'm not gonna do 5.3K on the GoPro and I'm not gonna do 8K on the Ace Pro. All right, Ace Pro. The pro of all aces. So one downside to this Ace Pro already, which I guess isn't major, but it's a little one of those tedious joints. And that is where the GoPro 9 and the GoPro 12 with these chunky gloves on, I was able to hit the record button pretty easily. The Ace Pro not so much. I could not press it down. So I had to take my gloves off and it was still not hard, but you would have got to press it. So it's not easy to press the record button for the Ace Pro when you got these gloves on. Now maybe if you got thinner motorcycle gloves, because mine is leather, well, leather, more like pleather. More like pleather. I'll stop. If you got thinner gloves, maybe it'll be easier. But if you got thicker gloves, it might be a little bit of a hassle. So for the stock settings test, I'm really not going to properly compare these to the GoPro 9. It's a bit pointless seeing the GoPro 9's in custom settings, and I could reset it, but again, I don't see the point of doing that. So I'm really only going to use them for the intro of the next area we are in. And number 2, this is something I don't think I mentioned in the intro, but I did buy the mic adapter for the Ace Pro, and of course I still have the old mic adapter that I use for my GoPro 9 that is hooked up to the GoPro 12. So throughout this entire video, you're hearing audio through the microphone in my helmet, but of course each camera has its own little sound chip soundboard in it. So this is also going to be a microphone test throughout this entire video. So here, while we're on a different bike, not only do I want to give you a different scenery on a different bike here, I want us to be able to see a little more green. All right, so now we are on the GoPro 12, and yes, this time we are on the standard video, the 4K video quality. I can feel the rattle on my helmet. Now it's not terrible, like literally vibrating in my head. Obviously it's not gonna be that strong, but it really does let me know that, hey, you're recording, you're not recording. All wrong. The GoPro beep, I can hear it clearly. So I'm not saying that the GoPro beep isn't loud enough, and I always tend to forget if I'm recording. There's a little more sunlight on this side. The grass down here is greener. Grass down here is nice and vibrant. So how's that looking? The tan reddish rocks. How's it look now? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for the last and final test. As you can tell, we're on a mountain. It's now time for the stabilization test. The GoPro 12. Let's get it going. So, that's really what I want to see. Alright, seems like with this ride I've gotten a little more comfortable. I feel like I'm moving just a little faster. Still gotta be careful. No knee elbow protection. And a bald tire in the back. The Ace Pro is on right now with its stock settings. I think it's on standard stabilization. I'm going to try and remember to check when I get back home. It's like when turns get so bad, I can't get that speed no more. I really need a new rear tire so I can actually have something to grip all this shit properly. We got this Ace Pro right here. Adhesive falls off, bam, hit the ground, and we crack a lens that we cannot replace ourselves. So that's the daylight settings. That's how it looks when it's nice, bright, and sunny out here. Now that we got a good look at that, y'all go ahead and let me know how y'all feel about them. But now it's time to move on to the low light settings. And speaking of all those tests, for the low light tests, I am specifically going to go down those roads again, simply because another thing I don't like about these, what feels like a sponsored ass video, is these people, when they do their low light settings, they always go into the city. To me, that doesn't make sense. When you go into the city, it can always look good. It's very bright. These cameras do best when they have a lot of light. Because half the time when you're riding, unless you plan on recording in the city, you're not going to constantly be in a very bright area. You're going to be on dark highways. You're probably going to be on dark residential roads to get to where you need to go. All right, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for nighttime testing. All right, GoPro 12. Pure video, ladies and gentlemen. How are we looking? Yes, it is more likely flatter. Very flat in color, at least the little screen. And no, it's not as wide, but due to that 1/1.9 focal lens, or whatever it's called, I'm expecting it to be a little brighter. And mind you, I don't have tinted lens on anymore. I switched my lens out from tinted due to the sunlight. You know, I want to be able to see. Now they're clear, so I'm seeing fully clear. Is it picking up? Of course, still on stock settings. Not a single thing changed. That's sick. But how much brighter is this road, I wonder? You can see these bushes here. I'm trying to pick up the speed right now, but it's just too damn cold. Obviously, the faster I go, the colder I'm gonna get, and I'm really not trying to freeze. I'm already freezing. I'm not trying to make it worse. Is the Ace Pro gonna live up to what it's been advertising? Nice curly roads. And I couldn't choose which one was better. Sheesh, you got them lights all the way up, huh? Your roads aren't too rough. They're pretty damn smooth. Sheesh. I wonder how much brighter that was. So now we have one last final test to do with all three cameras. Of course, mainly the two cameras. But the last final test to do. What is that? nighttime stabilization. Let's get to it. I'm gonna see y'all on the GoPro 9. Alright, so now we are finally here with the last test for this stock footage for the two other cameras. What is that? Low light stabilization. But nice and smooth. So I went here to this park and I looked back at the footage. I couldn't use this footage where I was in the grass. I had to end it off before I got to the park because it was so shaky on this GoPro 9. Like terribly shaky. I mean the worst. I couldn't use it. It was not usable. Yeah, they shut the other side down on me. Bam. There we go. We got a nice line we can do. A little more space back this way, so we'll just do this circle back here. This should be good. So how does this look? Is this really shaky? Is it fairly smooth? But here we are. The Ace Pro Pure Video Stabilization Test. How shaky is it? Is it shaky? If it is, how shaky? Is it bad? Is it good enough? Could you handle watching it? Could you bear with it? Would you not mind it? Or is it just straight smooth? So now we've seen all the settings from daylight to low light. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about them. Would you take these two cameras straight out the box and not touch a single thing? Would you be fine with that quality of footage? Or are you kind of like me and you kind of feel like that looked like shit? I want to take these and tweak them a bit, tweak them a lot, and see what I can get out of these cameras. So now it's time to move on to the custom settings. So one thing I do want to mention before we get into that, yes, I am doing a lot of talking. I did fair warn you of that. For custom settings with this Ace Pro right here, GoPro is fully updated. The Ace Pro is not. I am still on 1.0.21. Now why that is no, I'm not trying to make this look worse. What I'm trying to do is for low light, which we'll be getting to really soon, Pure Video still has the manual settings and auto settings in the 1.0.21 update. Now what it doesn't have is on and off HDR. It still has active HDR, which is on until you go from 30 FPS and higher. Or no, 48 FPS and higher, and it turns off. It doesn't work. 30 FPS and lower, HDR is automatically on. Again, I did that so I can have manual settings on Pure Video so I can tweak it the way I want to. Now, a lot of those videos I was watching that felt a little sponsored, one of them, he mentioned how the new update does not have manual settings. I looked at the video he did when he had manual settings, and I really liked the way it looked. And me personally, I like to customize damn near everything I get, from bikes to skateboards, scooters, camera settings. I like to tweak it all. So to not have manual settings, I felt that kind of sucked. So take that in mind. Any glitches I might go through, any freezing, any problems that I might go through with this camera, I am on the old update. And if I'm seeing too much problems, I will update this camera and just deal with the fact of having no manual settings. So with that being said, let's now get into the custom settings test between these two cameras and the GoPro 9 and see how they stack up. Starting off with daylight. I only got about an hour of sunlight left, and this might take me about an hour. Well, I got an hour plus sunlight left. It's honestly configured exactly like the GoPro 9, because it seems like when it comes to color and all that, the GoPro 12 is exactly the same. Yeah, so that bike's charging, but we don't really need the bike. I only use two different bikes, or that bike for that test, for not only range test, but just see how the field will get different lighting. We get even more lightings to test. That's more shadows. So as our morning settings too dark. So the only test that we're really doing right now is HDR. GoPro 9 does not have HDR. The GoPro 12, we got that HDR. So I wonder how that. So another thing too, usually I come out here about 6:04, 6 o'clock for that sundown, but it's like 5:50 probably right now. Regardless, it's all good. We got the same light. So right now, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice. Green on the trees. Be done with it. That is the FOV test. How does Hyperview look? Especially on this bike where the handlebars are nice and tall. As you can see, we got the ape hangers. That's why it's 6:54 p.m. right now. Hey, electric. All right, here we are. We are back with the green test with custom settings. Now, I wasn't gonna record with the GoPro 9, but I decided to anyways. It's the GoPro 12, but we are in HDR. All right, so the Ace Pro. Now, because I haven't had custom footage to look at on the Ace Pro yet, not footage like this where we get to see the grayish, blackish street, didn't do HDR, and we did regular. I'm actually glad I did that because we're driving with this Ace Pro, and it's really hard to. We even got some yellow over here. We got a nice. Oh, look at the purple. More purple. We got a lot of nice different colors to test out to see if these cameras stock the full quality of what these cameras are recording. So with that being said, I'm actually glad I did the non-HDR test by accident on the GoPro 12, but then I did the HDR test, so we'll see the difference, the quality difference from that. I feel like HDR does lower the quality just a tad bit, which is still not the custom footages, but the stock footage I couldn't. It felt like the mountain detail on the stabilization test was maybe better than the GoPro 9, but something about it still looked, well, not stock, but tuned settings within the camera and within the camera only. Once again, no post-processing. Okay, there's actually a decent amount of people here, but they're chilling there, so damn, it's a festival going on or something. I didn't even recognize that was happening. Let me turn this way. So we'll see if I'm right about that. But anyways, I'm not gonna do non-HDR. I'm just gonna do HDR, simply because now we'd see the detail difference between GoPro 12 and GoPro 9. So now I just really want to test the HDR. I want to know if it's as good as people were acting like it was, and if so, we'll see that difference. But I really just want it a bit pixelated at the same time, and it's confusing me. So I'm wondering, with me tweaking the settings on the Ace Pro, did I possibly fix that? Does it look the same? Is it still as bad? Now, we're not on auto settings. I'm wondering if that's something I should test now. So for the custom stabilization test, I don't really think it even matters anymore for stabilization, because the stock settings to me did great. So obviously the custom settings are either going to do exactly the same or better, since you can turn the stabilization up even higher. But to be honest, I just want to show some short clips, try to find clips where I'm really speeding down the trails to show you the different FOVs of these cameras, from the Ace Pro now being on action view to the GoPro 12 now being on hyper view. But of course, before we do that, let's show a little bit from the GoPro 9 to show you how my videos have been looking for the past 3 years. But stabilization test, a lot of rocks, we're off-roading, we're jittering, we're bouncing all over the place. But I haven't said it, I'm a man that loves his stabilization in his camera footage. A lot of people like no stabilization because they feel it gives it a cinematic look, at least for, you know, regular motovlogs on the street. For me, I just feel like all the shakiness, you can't quite properly see what might be happening. A lightweight electric bike, I don't want to hit a big rock and then fly over my bike, especially as of right now. At this current moment, I don't have gear yet. These are stock wheels. I'm assuming they're fairly strong, but I don't know how strong. But anyways, I'm going to try to keep the helmet up, because like I said before, Ace Pro is thicker than the GoPros. Therefore, the GoPros sit perfectly and face upwards. Just enough, not too much, but just enough to give you the view that I really like, that I've been getting for the longest amount of time with my GoPro, at least ever since I've been using the helmet that I'm using right now, where the Ace Pro is chunkier, so it aims down a little bit. Go hyper view. So the theory too is, if we just really want to test stabilization, not only do I have HDR on, so I'm sure that'll make the GoPro have to work a little harder when it comes to stabilizing. I'm not stuttering so much. Stabilization, at least in, you know, daylight scenes like this. The stabilization is great. Even on cloudy days, the stabilization is great. It's when you're in like a really low light, like literally nighttime. But yeah, if it gets worse over anything, I'm sure hyper view will make it have to work more. But I just want to know, how much am I going to abuse the hyper view? How much am I going to use the hyper view? So now that we did the daylight settings, my God, that looked way better than those stock settings in my opinion. That's just me. Y'all let me know. But let me know also how you feel about these two custom settings, even comparing it to the GoPro 9. One thing I didn't expect, which I should have known, it's newer. I didn't think that this GoPro 12 would be so much more detailed than the GoPro 9. That's an upgrade within itself. But y'all let me know how y'all feel about these two compared together. Now, before I get too much into my opinions about these two, we gotta see how they look in low light. So let's go ahead and do the low lights test with the custom settings, and let's see how they stack up. So for the low light test, at least this route right here, I cut it short just a little bit. Number one, it was freezing cold. I was struggling to even keep a regular motovlogging 45-50 miles per hour pace because I was freezing to death. And two, I started to realize it's kind of pointless for me to do the full route. This route is for the dark road, and then we're going to head back to the park for the brighter area so I don't have to go into the city. But anyways, these are my GoPro 9 settings that I've been using since October 2023. But our GoPro 9 low light settings being 1080p, 120 FPS, super view, hyper smooth boost, with a bitrate still at high, shutter auto, and EV compensation of +2, white balance still 4500K, ISO minimum of 400 to an ISO maximum of 1600, sharpness still in high, and color still in GoPro. So no, it is not beautiful looking, it is not pretty at all. But this is the best settings I can get between a decent amount of quality, very good stabilization, which to me was the most important, and still getting a good or a good enough amount of brightness, which is also very important. So now we move on to the GoPro 12. With the GoPro 12, I'm actually going to be testing two settings because the settings we're on right now is in super view, but they can be used in hyperview if I ever want to use hyperview in a nighttime recording. So this time around, it's still being super view. We are sitting at 4K, 60 FPS, super view with a Pro Tune of shutter auto, EV +2, white balance 4000, ISO is at auto, sharpness is still high, and color is still vibrant. So again, right now it's only in super view, but this is pretty much what my low light GoPro 12 hyperview settings would look like if I ever just wanted to use hyperview in low light. I really don't even have to go down this full road. You know what? Yeah, I don't have to go down this full road. So what if I just do that as a loop? I might just do that as a loop. Fuck, my hands are so cold. So this setting is pretty much like the GoPro 9, but the only difference is 4K, 120 FPS, super view, hyper smooth auto boost, Pro Tune is still auto, +2, 4000 white balance, ISO minimum 400, ISO max 3200, with a sharpness of high and color still at vibrant. Now I was going to set this setting in 1600 ISO, just like the GoPro 9, but again, it seems like the GoPro 12 is either a little darker or about the same, which I don't have a problem with it being the same, but 3200, when I tried that out, it was brighter, a little bit brighter with not too much grain. So I'm like, you know what? I actually like that. That's good, of course. So I went for 3200 ISO, and let's see how it looks. I can definitely tell that that is the mountain right there, the clouds up there. Seeing that there's nothing down there, so it is just straight dark, no light pollution. See it all. Well, actually no, that's backwards. There's a tad bit of light pollution in the clouds, which is why I can kind of see the clouds and differ from the mountains. But here we are, we're back on this road, and that's the GoPro settings. I wonder how they are. I wonder how they look. Now it's time to see how the Ace Pro's looking. So the Ace Pro, we are now on the Ace Pro. I did not put my goggles down. And now the Ace Pro. So the settings for the Ace Pro, we are sitting at a ISO of 1600 max. 1600 max as in it is in the auto configuration, but it can only go to a max of 1600. Our shutter speed is off due to EV being to 0.5 negative, and the white balance is on auto. And of course, we're in pure video.
So because it's the last test I'm doing for this little route right here, I'm just going to let y'all know that every setting that was mentioned throughout all of these tests will remain the same for our next series and last bit of testing we're going to do for the low light footage, the custom low light footage.
Shutter is auto, if I'm correct, because EV is at, EV should be negative 0.5. So just trying to keep it from being too overly bright to the point it might look a little exposed in this light. So that should be the settings for C2, the first nighttime setting that I want to test for this right here. Get that good lighting. So we still got a cloud behind the mountain. Once again, I can kind of see the mountain. I can definitely tell that the mountain is there. If I was new here, never seen this mountain, I came out here the first time at nighttime, I could still see that there's a mountain back there. See the clouds, see the lights down there. How's this setting looking on the Ace Pro? Is it clear? Is it grainy? Is the grain down? Smooth? Oh, I wonder. I feel like my hands are getting badly cold. Now we're on a little bit more of a lit up road. Or a lot more of a lit up road. I wonder how this looks. But how does this lighting look? As y'all can see, this is a decent amount of nice lit up lighting. So that's why I went here. I feel like going miles out, especially not during this time. And because I have this park, I knew this would be a good idea to come down here. I really don't have to. We got some green, we got some lights. It's pretty well lit up down here. All right, now how are these colors looking? How's this lighting looking? This stuttery ass throttle shit on this eco mode is pissing me off. I can't just cruise. It's not cruising. But I don't know if slowly tapping. But for the low light, you know, I wanted 4K 120 FPS. I'm like, you know, 1080p 120 FPS is super smooth. It's just a little ugly. So if I could get 4K, ooh, looking pretty, beautiful, smooth. All right, let's keep it eco. Eco is stuttery, but it's less. Alright, never mind. Ain't nobody here. Which is good. I'm hoping that's the same for that field over there. Because I honestly might stick our stability. Okay, so now that we've seen custom, we've seen stock and custom settings, but the custom settings being the most important, because more than likely I have a feeling, I have a sneaky suspicion that you will definitely take these out the box and tweak up those settings. Damn near everybody does. But anyways, how do you feel about that? Do you think the GoPro 12 looks a lot better? Or do you think the Ace Pro looks a lot better? Now, this is where I want to give my opinion, and I think I said it already, but I'm gonna say it again. And this is where I was making it really hard to choose, because one is a lot better than the other at particular things, and I think it's obvious what I'm about to say here, but with the GoPro 12, I just felt like the quality, just seeing the YouTube videos, I feel like the quality was just much better. So actually having it myself, the quality that this picks up, the detail that it picks up. You know, when I'm motovlogging, I want to capture everything as much as possible, even every little detail. So if we're sitting out here right now, it's a decently sunny day. We got some thin clouds behind us, but we got these clouds and we're motovlogging. We got some very thick clouds. I always forget what they call the clouds, but the very thick clouds. You know, I want to pick up that detail so you can just really look at the surroundings of where I'm driving and just be like, damn, this is nice. If the camera's shitty, let's say I get a queso, if that's how you say it, you're not really gonna be paying attention to quality because it's just whack. I want you to really be able to get details of everything that's going on. With the Ace Pro, I feel like it's more of like the, if this is the right word, the Ace Pro's video sensor is just, it seems like it's cheaper. And I don't know how to explain it, but like, I think I said this in the clips if I showed all that. Apparently they said the bit rate to this is like 170, where my GoPro 9 is like 100, so I'm gonna think this is like 120, 150. But if they say the bit rate's that high, but it doesn't seem like it. So it just seems like whatever's going on with this camera, the video sensor is either just cheaper than this one, or GoPro's just got the secret sauce. You know, they've been in this action camera game for a long ass time. They are, if I'm correct, the first. So maybe it's that, but the quality of this is still good. It's definitely still doable, but that's just where the GoPro 12 reigns supreme when it comes to this daylight stuff. It just really picks up very good quality. But of course, that's when it completely flips. The Ace Pro here, the nighttime footage with this pure video, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was gonna be a scam, and that's why I had to just test it for myself. Again, every video felt sponsored. I'm thinking, what if they're just going to post-processing and they're just brightening this up? And of course, this with stock settings, making it as grainy as possible, damn near on purpose, because it's like, did you even try to make a good nighttime setting? And just threw it out there to make this look good and this look like shit. But the pure video, it's not a lie. And I heard some people in some Amazon reviews say that the pure video quality looks like shit. Now I can say, pure video looks worse in quality than regular video does in morning with this. Even not using pure video at nighttime with this, the quality looks better. And I could agree, it does look worse. It's not the highest of quality. If I seen that quality in daylight, then damn, this would officially look like a bit of a cheap camera. But if you think about it, even with the best settings that I could put on this GoPro 12, and if I just show you 2 clips right here and compare them, none of these cameras look good at low light. And that's just facts. This is literally the first camera to ever actually be able to brighten up a nighttime scene so you can see what's going on at night. So when it comes to a quality comparison, if I show you this GoPro 12 footage, this is the best I can get, this is the brightest I can get it without it looking too terrible. Look how fuzzy the trees look when we're sitting here at the park. This actually picks up the trees a little better. So with these action cameras not being that good at night, you're never going to have a good nighttime clear quality with any of these cameras until this came around. So yeah, does it look worse than non-pure video at night and daylight? Yeah, it does. But does it look better than any other camera quality-wise at low light? Yeah, it does. And that's where it became difficult to decide, because one is way better at this, but one is way better at that. And then for me, I do a lot of riding at night, especially because I plan on returning to my group rides that I used to do, and they do damn near all of the rides at nighttime. They barely do them in the morning. So if I'm always riding at night, I really need a good nighttime camera. Now don't get me wrong, I think the GoPro 12 looks a lot better than the GoPro 9, because that's the main reason I want to get a new camera anyway, was the low light, like I said. But the Ace Pro arrived, and now it is what it is. So before we get into any conclusions, some other things that I want to mention that I guess doesn't have it does have to do with quality. Speaking of that, just reminded me, because I almost forgot. I'm trying to do this all in one take, so I'm trying to make sure I don't forget nothing. As you can see, I'm doing a lot of cutting, so it's a lot of stuttering. But anyway, speaking of quality, let's talk about microphone quality. But I guess until we can get into microphone quality, let's talk about how you can use microphones. So obviously you can use the microphones that comes right out of these cameras, or if you're a motovlogger like me, you're gonna want to buy something where you can use an external microphone. So if we look here, if we can get a nice close shot, and I stand up, I got a nice metal case on my GoPro 9, if I'm not standing too tall, and I have this old GoPro original adapter right here, which is something I actually want to speak about. So let's put the Ace Pro down real quick. Another thing I keep seeing in these reviews with the GoPro 12, comparing it to the Ace Pro, and they talk about the need of an external microphone, they keep talking about the media mod and how you have to get the media mod. You do not have to just get the media mod. If you just don't want the media mod, and you just simply want to find a way to hook up to the GoPro, I'm not sitting here saying that you can use any Type-C to audio adapter or audio jack adapter that you want. No, you can't. You need that brick, but you can just simply get the original GoPro brick. Now, what I will say is, regardless, the media mod is $80, high in price. The brick is cheaper, but it's still about $47, at least from what I checked. It's $47. I just actually seen a e-commerce packaging. It looks like it's still coming off, this is on Amazon, but it looks like it's still coming from the GoPro store on Amazon for $25. Now, it has no reviews yet. I think it's new, so I don't know how legit it is. What I will say, with the old GoPro 5, I bought this off of Amazon from e-commerce packaging, and I don't remember if that's some form of it being renewed, refurbished, or what. I don't know what that is. I also don't know if it's legit right now. When I had the GoPro, a lot of people already bought it, the GoPro 5. But it was much cheaper. It still is a GoPro 5. It wasn't a scam. So that is available. Now, if you're the type of person, I'd wait and see if other people buy it to see if it's legit and see what they say reviews-wise. But until then, you don't have to buy the media mod. So you can pay cheaper, but it's still not as cheap as good old Ace Pro's microphone adapter. Now, just like the GoPro, you need this. You will not get audio from your external microphone out of your Ace Pro with any other Type-C to audio jack adapter. You do need to buy this. the Ace Pro adapter. Now with that being said, it comes at a much cheaper, affordable, and keeping your pockets happy $19.99. So it is obviously a lot cheaper than $47. But with that being said, with this little thing, you have the Type-C back here, and then you have your audio jack up here, Type-C down there. Go ahead and look at that. You take this little side door off, which might be difficult for me to do with these gloves on. Oh, not too difficult. Pop that off. And just clip that in, and it has clips at the top, clips at the bottom. So however you want to, it doesn't matter. You can clip the top in first, and then clip the bottom in. Stays in pretty nicely. And what I like, if we look at the GoPro 9 again, the GoPro 9's brick right here, the audio jack comes out this side. So if I'm using my original or the helmet that I always motovlog with, I got my cord coming out and then bam. So it's the same with this. So that makes it nice and easy. Speaking of external mic adapters, speaking of microphones overall, when it comes to the quality of the microphones, how did y'all feel about that? I don't think I asked that. How did y'all feel about the quality of the microphones that you can get? Now, obviously, of course, I was using the same microphone in my same helmet. I mean, I only have one microphone set in all 3 or 4 of my helmets, so I definitely wasn't about to set another one up. But how did y'all feel about the quality? Me personally, kind of like the same thing I said with the sensor. I felt like the Ace Pro's microphone it's almost like you ever talking to somebody on Skype or Discord and their microphone sounds great. Until the quality or their internet goes bad for a split second, maybe like 5 seconds, and you're like, damn, what just happened to your microphone? It just went to shit. And they tell you, oh yeah, I'm lagging right now, my internet just went down, I don't know what happened. The Ace Pro kind of sounds like that. It sounds like it could sound good, but my internet went bad. Besides that, I think it's more of just the Ace Pro's microphone sounds muffled. It sounds good. I could easily work with it. I don't mind it. I like how it blocks the wind reduction out, which speaking of that, I did go into the Ace Pro settings, and for the stock settings, I did wind reduction. Wind reduction was on. It was already on its own. But I turned it to stereo, hoping I could get for a crispier, clearer audio, and it sounded exactly the same. So I feel like either that's the old update, remember I am on 1.0.21, either it's the old update or that those 3 settings are only for the built-in microphone. But again, the Ace Pro microphone, it does sound good. It's just a little muffled. It makes it sound like your internet went bad. Where the GoPro 12, I do like how much clearer it is. But I'm gonna stop myself right there. We're back out here, and the reason being is, well, like I said throughout the video, I was on update 1.0.21, but I came to a realization that manual settings is not quite looking the way I thought it was going to look, because the point of sitting on there, it was a YouTuber I was watching, and his settings looked great. But I didn't realize that he was using what they call LUT packs, but he pretty much has some form of color grading on it, and that's why his colors were extra nice looking. You know, the manual settings to me looked good, but I didn't have his color because, again, that wasn't from the Ace Pro. There's a lot of new features I'm missing out on the newer update, and I said, you know, let me just update. I updated, and I'm not disappointed. I no longer have manual settings, but I got my auto settings to look kind of how my manual settings look. All I needed is the EV that they still allow you to use to get this slightly darker, I guess a little more cinematic look without it being overly exposed or overly bright. So with that being said, we are on the latest update right now, which is 1.0.51. And I'm here to show y'all how it looks, but not only how it looks, you may notice a difference is how it sounds.
So automatically going back to the clip with update 1.0.21, the first update, you can see that there's a major color difference. The color on the old update looked pretty good, but the color on the new update is pretty goddamn nice. They said the point was to give it more natural colors. I don't know if I could say these look more natural. To me, they look more vivid, but I am on the vivid filter setting that's in the Ace Pro, so that could probably be why.
As y'all can see, it's the same time of day, about 11:12 a.m. right now, or 11:12 p.m. The only difference is because it's a lot of time later, about a month later. As you can see, the trees and the bushes have grown in, so we got a little more color to look at this time around. So this is how it looks now. Now when it comes to a quality upgrade, video quality, I felt like there was, but I really wasn't sure. If there is, it's very small, but it has not a very low, but a lower bit rate than the GoPro. And I don't know if that's true right now. I'll throw up something on the screen if I just have to, but there probably isn't. But I, again, really don't know. So for now, I'm gonna just say it's the same quality. Actual video quality in pixels is the same, but again, we get much better colors. But when it comes to quality, something that is better is sound quality. And you probably have noticed that. this camera doesn't sound so muffled, and I do have a good mic, but I'm talking to you on Discord and my internet just went bad for 10 seconds, so now you're hearing this muffled, nasty sound. And my quality, it doesn't sound like that no more. To me, it sounds a lot clearer, a lot crispier. I noticed a difference with the first clip, so I'm expecting that difference to still be there, and if I'm correct, there is no newer update, so this is what we got right now. But to me, this sounds a lot better. I like it a lot. What I will say is everything else after this clip was recorded right then and there, still on update 1.0.21. So anything else I say about this microphone quality is old news.
And I also forgot to mention that later on I'll be testing my new pair of mics, but the reason you don't see me using them throughout the entire video is because that was also recorded before this clip, much before this clip, but recorded much after everything else.
Which one takes out the wind noise and background noise better? I feel like could be the Ace Pro, but the GoPro 12 does a really good job. And speaking of taking the wind out and blocking all that off so you don't have too much wind noise, and my bike back here, this newly built bobber, has a very loud chain. It's electric, but it has a very loud chain. Big motor, so it really rattles through the chain a lot. Yet it sounds like it does a better job of blocking that audio out just a little bit better than the GoPro 9. The GoPro 9s tends to still have a very high screeching that comes from the chain, the high pitch squeak a bit, if I'm saying that correctly, that could kind of pierce the ears. Not too bad because it's not that ridiculous, but I feel like the GoPro 12 muffles that down, so it sounds really nice. But again, microphone quality, I definitely like the GoPro 12 microphone quality a lot better. I like how crispier it sounds compared to the Ace Pro. But enough with the microphone talk. Another thing I want to talk about, try to make sure I don't forget everything here. And that's another thing that people were mentioning, the good old little mount right here. So for the people who, I'm sure you know about this already, but here we go. Kind of hard with these gloves, but bam, that easy. This little mount is definitely a plus when it comes to the Ace Pro. Having to take that off with a screwdriver compared to that, it's a little less tedious, I'm not gonna lie. So as a motovlogger, it's easy. Or once again, when I go home and it's so tight that I have to use my screwdriver, instead of being simply using my screwdriver, just hit these two clips and it's off. No, I was not gonna drop the Ace Pro. We go here, all right, you slide it in, Shazam, push that down, and you should hear a clip, or a click. Some of the Amazon reviews, people were talking like that this was a little loose, you know, they're afraid of it can fall off, they don't like it. Maybe they fixed it, or maybe they got a bad one, because that's not going anywhere for me. That is in place. So I am very confident in my clip that this is going to stay on. For battery life, I don't know if that's something I really paid attention to, I'm not gonna lie. All these cameras stayed alive during all my tests, and besides battery, I guess one more topic, because I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting nothing, one more topic that I want to talk about until I finally get into the conclusion of what I feel I'm going to do with these cameras, and that is weight. This might be something that's important to you now, just getting straight into the weight of these cameras. If I'm remembering correctly, because I did search it up, the GoPro was 153 or 154 grams. The Ace Pro was 179. I think this is 153.4. I think this is 179.84. So the Ace Pro is heavier. Now, do you actually notice it? Well, me, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I didn't notice it. Well, number one, even if the GoPro happened to be heavier, if I just wanted to sound sponsored for Ace Pro, I really wouldn't give a shit, because as you can tell, I have this metal mount for my GoPro 9. Aluminum mount to hold up the battery here, so I guess that's a plus when it comes to getting the medium on, unless you just take this block and like tape it, or 3M tape it to your helmet. I needed this to hold this, and I didn't want to have it separate on my helmet. I thought it would look stupid. So with that being said, this shit's heavy as fuck, but I've been using it for the last 3-4 years. I'll say 4 years, because in 2020, when I got my first two-wheel motor-powered vehicle, my Nanobot D6, I had got a metal case for my GoPro 5. It's not on right now, but I had one of these for my GoPro 5, and to hold the brick. I've had this brick since 2019. So I've been using it for such a long time. Especially, I used to use this mask on it. That's why this mask has that. This was my original setup. I didn't even have a helmet at all. I just had this mask, and this would sit there. And this would push down on my nose like crazy, super annoying, but I worked with it. I want to do my motovlogging on my Neewer D6 Plus and my new bike, my first bike that I ever built at that time when it hit 2021, my moped. So for the longest, I'm used to the aluminum cage that I now have for the GoPro 9 that the GoPro 12 also fits in. So when I was doing the testing and switching from camera to camera to camera, which the GoPro 9 and 12 was both being switched out in and out this case, and then I would take this heavy ass case off and put this on, I didn't notice a difference. I didn't even notice that this was lighter. I'm just so used to having that weight on my face. And maybe the full face helmet helped that, not being as heavy on my face, but I'm so used to it that I did not even think about it. It was not a thought. So again, for you, you might want to consider that. If weight is a problem, you don't want all that weight on your helmet if you're not used to all that weight on your helmet. But now that we've gotten through with both of these cameras, from video quality, microphone quality, talking about the adapters, how much you got to pay, what you might need, our mounts, how do you mount up, how easy is it, how tedious is it, from our mounts to the weight might bother you, all that weight on your face might hold you down. And now that we've gotten all that out the way, and I don't think there's anything else to talk about here, the last thing that would be to talk about is the final decision on which camera is staying and which camera is going home. Honestly, I think that's a topic that y'all might have to go through amongst yourselves with these two. Because me, I'm keeping both. Roll off, baby. All right, so here we are. Let's take a quick stroll around the park. We're recording through the GoPro 9 right now. And I'm not trying to troll y'all, but I gotta run down to the full story of how I came to this conclusion of what I wanted to do with these cameras. So like I said, like I mentioned before, been looking at these cameras for a long time, mainly the GoPro 11 to the 12. I was set on that was my camera. Saw the DJI, I then saw the DJI Action 3 against, I don't remember what camera, wasn't feeling it. Found out they came out with Action 4, so I looked at it. It was a lot better than the Action 3 to me when it came to quality, color, and all that, but I just wasn't feeling it. I was still stuck up on the GoPro, and that's when the Ace Pro came around. But the part that I didn't tell you is that the plan wasn't just to get a GoPro. The plan was to get actually two cameras, the GoPro 12 and the Insta X3. So with that being the plan, I was been set on getting two cameras. What happened was, and why I didn't get the X3 is because one thing problem I came across, and that kind of just killed it for me, because you know, how could I properly use it the way I would want to use it with the way I usually use my third-person cameras, and that's, how the hell do I edit 360 footage? I have a sneaky suspicion that I cannot edit that 360 view footage on any editing program. I would have to use a program that's probably made by them, and lo and behold, I did. If I can't edit these footages on the same editing software, how the hell am I gonna correlate them together and properly edit the video the way I want to edit it if I have to edit one footage again on a completely different software? So it just came down to the case of, well, I don't think the X3 is going to work, which kind of sucked because the 360 footage would have been the best for that. But again, I don't know how I'm going to get it to work. So after that, I'm like, all right, well, still, I need a main camera, and I can't decide between the GoPro 12 and the Ace Pro, because we're now at that point with the GoPro 12 and the Ace Pro. Made a decision that said, fuck it, I'm going to get both, because again, everything felt sponsored. And just before I got my check to actually get these cameras, I thought, what if I get the cameras and I still can't decide? What if I like them both? What if I still can't decide? Well, if that's the case and I'm not getting the X3, why don't I just keep both if that ends up happening? And now we're here. So before I even talk about the last bits I want to talk about for the pretty much end portion of this video, we can compare these cameras to each other and say which one's better at this and which one's better at that, especially for y'all deciding case. But the main question with that would have to be asked before we even do that, before we even waste the energy on that, is this camera or these two cameras worth having to spend $922 over than to just keep my GoPro 9s? You know, I could keep the GoPro 9 for free, but is it worth it? Well, first things first, before I even say anything else about the two cameras, the one reason why I just absolutely have to get rid of this GoPro 9, and that is straight irking me. And this is something I'm hoping that doesn't become a major problem with the GoPro 12.
So I decided to do a little voiceover right here because I was kind of talking about the thing that was irking me, and it was a glitch, but I wasn't really specific on what I meant by a glitch on this GoPro 9, because it's not really just a glitch, it's glitches. As a matter of fact, it's not just simple glitches, it's the glitches that I've been going through with the GoPro 9 for the last 3 fucking years. When I first got the camera, it was all good, and then very shortly later, I'm out here recording on my Project Flash, camera just dies. It'll tell you it's at 40, 30, 25%, when in reality it's at 5%. So you're in the middle recording thinking you still got enough before you can end your video off, and it just dies on you. And now it's like, nice, there's nothing you can do about it. And then when you think you fixed the glitch through a solution or just a simple update, time later it's all good, and all of a sudden it has another glitch or the same glitch comes back. So it's constantly playing with your emotions, because one moment it's fine, one moment it's not. One moment it's fine, one moment it's not. And then my GoPro 9's battery starts swelling. Pull the battery out, try to just depend on the external battery because I don't have an extra backup battery. And now I get a date and time glitch, which apparently that's just simply because there's no battery in it. So I say, you know what, I've been wanting to get this battery, I got some money, let me get the Enduro battery. Got the Enduro battery, it was good. And then the date and time glitch comes back again. As a matter of fact, every time I turn the camera on, it keeps asking me to update the date and time. If I'm in the middle of going to a group ride, and I typically come to these late because, you know, I still don't really know too much people at the ride, so I'm not really talking to anybody, so I don't want to be sitting there for an hour bored as hell. So I'll come there late, where they're about to leave in 10 minutes. I get there, do my intro, and go. If I hit the on button, we're about to drive off, and it's asking me the date and time, I can't record, so I'm missing out on part of the ride. I have to stop, so I might get left behind. So no matter what I do, there's constantly a goddamn glitch with this camera, and it doesn't help that your boy, I don't really talk about it, but I do have anger issues. So I just try my hardest not to throw this camera out the fucking window. So as good as the GoPro 9 still looks, as good as it still holds up, low light footage, not that great, but I made it work. I cannot deal with this camera anymore. I literally cannot. I'm going to destroy it if I have to deal with it any longer. And again, these new camera just has features that I really, really, really like, want, and I just need. Now, when it comes to problems, though, people do say the GoPro 12's UI, if I'm saying that correctly, I'm just call it its OS, its operating system, as if we're talking about Windows or Linux, Mac. I don't really deal with glitches or problems with the GoPro 12. I mean, I navigate fairly easily. Ace Pro has also never glitched on me, even while being on the first update. And I've had these cameras for a while now. As I'm recording and editing this video right now, it's officially been about a month. Kind of close to 2 months. Haven't really had a problem with both cameras, and I'm loving that, of course. But of course, we got a lot more time to go through these cameras, at least until I upgrade. Some would have to be absolutely ridiculous for me to want to get more money and upgrade that fast. So I have a feeling I'm going to be holding on to these cameras for a few years. So we'll see what happens. But now that we got that out the way, and now that y'all know why I just have to get rid of this GoPro 9, and why I just am sick and tired of it, I kind of did a lot of rambling in these clips, so I'm trying to shorten it down with this voiceover. But anyways, the reasons for me to keep these cameras, and why, again, I just couldn't decide which one is better than which. And honestly, that just starts off with the GoPro 12. Now, I was trying to buy a new camera, mainly for low light footage, but man, I kind of forgot how much I can get in daylight footage with the GoPro 12. Like
this hyper view. Again, I may not need it, but I absolutely want it. This hyper view is just so sick to me. It looks so damn good. You can just see everything. It feels, if I'm using the right word, it feels immersive. I absolutely just could not get over the fact of having this hyper view. It's something I really needed. To be honest, I like the hyper view so much, I'm still considering either sooner or later getting the max lens mod, paying $100 for the max lens mod, just so I can use that with hyperview and get an even wider view with this. But besides the hyperview, just another reason to have the GoPro, another reason I couldn't decide. Because when it comes to the GoPro, the quality, especially when I did these tests, and I don't know why I didn't expect this, I should have known, because it is still a GoPro, just a newer one, which, you know, newer is supposed to be usually better, you know, that's where the word new improved comes from. I didn't think that the GoPro 12's quality would be quite a bit better than the GoPro 9 like it is. And just looking at the comparison, when I look close into the mountains, this very mountain back there, when we were on the road, you can really see the detail on the mountain even better than the GoPro 9. And not only that, I had the white balance exactly the same, yet the GoPro 9 would tend to look a little extra blue, where I feel like the GoPro 12 is a bit more natural. It's not as unnecessarily blue when it comes to the white balance. But the quality that the GoPro 12 packs is very, very, very nice in my opinion.
But we may have all that with the GoPro 12, hyperview, the extra crispy quality. But the GoPro 12 still lacks in that low light quality. The 4K with 120 FPS was not as good looking as I thought it was going to be. So now I would still need something for low light footage. Well, that's where the Ace Pro shines.
With its pure video. So of course we can talk about the GoPro and all its high qualities. You trying to race? What's up? We can talk about the GoPro 12 and all its high qualities, but this Ace Pro right here, man, it's just the absolute, is it truly the low light king? Well, y'all let me know, because honestly, I gotta say it is. This thing right here looks nice. You can really see well. You can see what we're looking at. If we're on this regular residential road with any of my other cameras, let's say I'm using my regular old GoPro 9 settings, right? You could see on this road, but it'd be a little darker. Not that great in quality, quite grainy. You know, it'd be alright, it'd be usable. And with how much night riding I did, I at least needed something that was usable. And you know, I have some usable GoPro 12 footage. I think the GoPro 12 looks a little better, but it's not like the Ace Pro. But what we're about to do here, as y'all can see right in front of me, that's a very dark road. There's not even a street light on that road. It's a roundabout. I've been on this road a few times. When we first moved this area and I was on my moped, to a few other times I was on my bobber. And I think I went down this road on the video I did where my original bobber's controller was overheating due to the position I had it in. It was pretty much in an oven. We're about to go down that road again. This road is dark. And I guarantee you that if I had the GoPro 9 or the 12 on me, you wouldn't be to see shit on this road. I know that for a fact. I've been on roads like this with those cameras and you just cannot see a damn thing even with the settings that I configure. Sheesh, look how dark this road is. Now, can the Ace Pro see? Y'all go ahead and let me know, because it is dark. I will say the headlight on this bobber is much better than the headlight on my old bobber. Man, that car is not happy. Like, you did all that, you're not even going fast? Nah, I'm not gonna lie, with these up and coming lights, it's making it hard for me myself to see this road, so I don't want to run into nothing really. It is very hard to see. Yeah, again, I guarantee you my other cameras would not be able to see a thing. How good can we see the clouds too? There's a good stack of clouds out here right now.
Man, I'm sorry. The GoPro 9, the GoPro 12 is not touching the Ace Pro when it comes to low light footage. This shit was not a sponsored lie. This pure video is the truth. But this all just kind of puts them together and almost makes them kind of perfect, because in daylight footage, the Ace Pro looks like shit. I can't say it looks like shit. It looks good, but it just does not look as crispy and clean as the GoPro. So as a third-person camera, since we don't have an X3, no, we don't have the 360 footage, but the Ace Pro can still be used as a newer, higher quality, and not so goddamn glitchy third-person camera, because I could do that with the GoPro 9, but I'm not dealing with those glitches. And then in low light, we can do the same for the GoPro 12. And regardless, the X3 wouldn't look as good as the GoPro 12 in the morning. It wouldn't even look as good as the Ace Pro at night. So again, what we do lose not having the X3 is the 360 footage. But what we gain not having the X3 is just the overall better footage that it just can't do, that these two cameras can do. And it doesn't stop me from still getting a 360 camera in the future. And I'm glad I didn't get one anyways, because if I would have bought the X3 instead of either the Ace Pro or the GoPro 12, literally a few weeks or about a month later, the X4 ends up coming out. So I honestly would have been pissed, I'm not gonna lie, because a month later, that means I wouldn't be able to send the X3 back to get the X4. So I'm glad I didn't anyways. But again, it doesn't stop me from getting one. But I am a little upset the X4 does not have any pure video in it. I expect it to have some pure video, but it's not mentioned at all. But one more question I want to ask y'all before we leave off from the segment right here. And this is a bit of a random one, but how do y'all feel? Do y'all think the GoPro is overall better, or do you think the Ace Pro is overall better? Should I have gotten 2 GoPros, or should I have gotten 2 Ace Pros? Now, we're not going to do a full unboxing, but I brought y'all to this table because I really wanted to show y'all something. And that is finally showing y'all the new microphone I got, the Neewer CM28. This right here was absolutely needed. These microphones are absolutely perfect for third-person review / unboxing type videos. Not only should this microphone sound better than the typical GoPro setup I do, it'll also be a lot less tedious than having to record with the GoPro and the phone at the same time and having to make sure both are on time with each other in the editing software, which is typically not that hard. It's just very tedious. And again, to have this microphone and not have to do that anymore, it's beautiful. I should have been gotten something like this, but we have it now. So as you can see, all 3 pieces are in their case. I don't remember which is which and which is called what, but they're all in their case. They charge in the case, and when the case needs battery, you just charge the case. It's as simple as that. But the case battery lasts a nice and long time. And here is the 3 setups: the setup with the phone, the setup with the GoPro 12, and the setup with the Ace Pro. I'm sure this isn't the first time you've seen these microphones, but this is really for all the returning subscribers to show you what microphones I got. So I'm really not going to talk about how to set these things up because this video is goddamn long enough. And unless I find a way to cut this video down by a shit ton to make it not as long as it is, as I'm currently doing this video, we're very close to 2 hours long. So let's cut to the chase. Let's head outside and let's now test how these microphones sound. From the first test of testing my wired earbuds that you always hear me use when I'm on this table right here. That's going to be connected to the phone. Then we're going to connect the phone to these microphones, the Neewer CM28. And then after that, the GoPro 12 and the Ace Pro will also be connected to these 2 microphones. Let's get into it. All right, so as you can see, we're now outside, okay? Of course, testing first, the earbuds, the good old earbud setup that I always use on this phone. I've been using it for probably like a year or more now. I think a year, around the time I did the battery build for the original bobber Project SB, the DT400 bobber. And as you can tell, I just can't use this. Not only do we have a cord all in our face, I'm all up in your guys' face. It's just really, it's too close. I can't get no distance. If I'm trying to review something, I'm gonna go around while keeping the camera, you know, nice and far without being in you guys' face. So then what I would have to do is pull out either one of these cameras and do a double audio recording and match it. It's possible. It's really not that difficult, but it's just more tedious, and if I just don't have to do it, I'd really rather not. So now we should be using the good old receiver or transmitter, the microphone, let's just say that. I'm getting my words mixed up. As I can see, I can get more distance between the camera. I can go far back. Now the breeze is picking up. We might be getting like 15 miles per hour gusts. The wind's supposed to do like 17 miles per hour today if I were to wait a little later. So hopefully my phone doesn't fall over, but I can back up. I can give y'all space, okay? If I'm reviewing, I don't even know if you can see it, but you know what, fuck it. Let's say I'm building something right here, right? I don't know why I would want the camera right there like that while I'm talking, but I'm building something, and for some reason I need the camera to be that far away. I can do this now. I can do that. So we're in a decibel setting of 1, so it's all the way down. And what was I say? I'm in mono. Now I don't know if I'm really getting things switched up, but I could have sworn the review I was looking at, somebody said they were in stereo, and that's how they were getting, like, you know, double-sided audio out of this. Well, me, I have to be in mono. I don't know. I've been getting my shit mixed up lately, so, you know, my brain hasn't been working fully.
But another thing I want to test, now they do say this can do up to 200 meters, so that's like 600 feet. I don't have 600 feet to test, but the one thing I do want to test, if I were to turn around, I hear a lot of people's audio starts glitching when they turn around. Again, hopefully the phone doesn't fall over. But if I go all the way back here, so I'm back here now. I'm probably like, if my house is 20, 25, 30 feet tall, I'm probably about 40, 50 feet away right now. And I'm wondering if I were to turn my back, does it start to glitch out badly? The one video I did see, the first video I see with this little microphone, he turned around and he was really far away, he was walking away, it never glitched out. But other people's videos with the secondary copy of this microphone, they're all kind of the same. The full lane X5 was glitching like crazy when other people turn around. So I'm kind of curious, is it possibility there is a small upgrade between the newer CM28 or the full lane X5? I also feel like the CM28 sounds, I just hit my head. I also feel like the CM28 sounds a little bit better. So an extra test, and that is decibel 2. I couldn't kind of decide between decibel 1 and 2. I felt like 2 was a little extra loud, but 1 was a little extra quiet. I'm really not sure. I feel like it depends on, you know, I'm hoping that because 1, I feel like it sounds the best, it's not overly loud. It'll be loud enough if you just needed to turn it up on YouTube, then it's perfectly fine. Where I'm hoping it still won't be too low. So I'm kind of testing decibel 2. The gust of wind has kind of calmed down a little bit. It's hot right now. I got my phone back in the shade, so the phone should be fine. Actually, it's a little tall. So now we are hooked up to the GoPro 12. So for whatever reason, I just needed to use a GoPro 12 for this setup. We got the little receiver on the top. Man, that thing looks cool. I'm not gonna lie, it looks cool as hell. We got a little screen right here. So if you just had to use the GoPro as a little vlog camera, you got something to look at. But this is how it sounds. So again, with this test, I'm wanting to really do it. This test switching through all my cameras from the phone to the 12 to the Ace Pro, because it's more of, again, a test with the audio, which camera has the best audio with it. Again, with the external microphone adapters to the Ace Pro and the GoPro 12, I personally think the GoPro 12 has the better sound. And I honestly feel that's the same even with the external microphone in the cameras. So will the CM28 sound even better on the GoPro 12 compared to the Samsung? Or the Samsung have the better audio with this microphone than the GoPro 12? And eventually we're gonna find out the same for our Ace Pro. So how's the interference on the GoPro 12? Again, it's still being the same microphone, the same CM28. I wouldn't think that there's a difference, okay? I'm hot as fuck. It's fucking hot out here. And I'm surrounded by rocks, so I'm even hotter. And then when I leave the rocks, I go to concrete, so it makes it even hotter. There's nothing but a bunch of bullshit reflecting the heat back on me, and it's only 90 degrees. It's only 90 degrees, and it's only April 21st, 22nd right now. I don't remember what day it is, but it's only April, and it's 90 degrees right now. Summer is going to be an absolute pain in the ass, and that's exactly why I'm doing this. Because for the next test, we're gonna go ahead and switch to the Ace Pro, and honestly, I'm gonna explain more details on why I kinda need to use the Ace Pro compared to the Samsung. So now that we are on the Ace Pro, I gotta ask again, but will this just simply be a third-person camera during our daylight recordings, a main camera for our nighttime recordings, but could it also be a replacement to my old-ass Samsung Galaxy Note 10? At least for now. And I say that because, honestly, the main problem I have with the Galaxy, it can't handle this heat. Like I was just saying, it's hot as fuck. It's actually not that hot. It's pretty warm though. I'm kind of burning up a little bit. You know, winter did kind of just stop. The cool weather did just go away. So body's getting acclimated to the hotter weather again, but it's not that hot. But to the phone, 65 degrees at the park. But the first take I did when I was trying to do this camera review, my phone overheated. The sunlight being directly on it, they couldn't handle it. Now, these action cameras handle the heat a lot better. And it was only 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That was actually kind of chilly to me, because of course I live in a desert. So no, I don't live in Colorado or whatever place that's super fucking cold and snows. I ain't been in New York since I was 6. So when you come out here, 108 to 117 degree desert ass summer, 50, 60, 40 degrees, 30, that's cold to you. But again, the Galaxy Note couldn't even handle that. The Ace Pro or any of these action cameras are going to handle that heat a lot better. So, could the Ace Pro replace the Galaxy Note 10? Is the quality good enough to replace the Galaxy Note 10? Is the audio coming from the CM28 plugged into the Ace Pro good enough to replace the Samsung Galaxy Note 10? To me, it automatically is, because if the Galaxy just keeps simply overheating over basic weather and I have to do something like this in summer, I'm going to constantly have a problem. I'm never going to be able to record. All right, hold up. Not so fast, all right? Now, I went to go look back at the footage from all three cameras. When I gotta say, when it comes to quality, the Samsung and the GoPro 12, to no surprise, definitely sounds the best. Honestly, the GoPro 12 and the Samsung, they sound about the same. The only difference is the Samsung seems to be louder, where the action cameras are lower. So what I did here, even though we are on the Ace Pro, we're not on the GoPro, we're not on the phone, we're on the Ace Pro right now, I turned the decibel from 1 to 2. In the middle of this recording, I'm gonna turn it up to 3, because even 2 was still a little quieter than the phone. I feel like the phone was decently loud without being overly loud. But then once I do 2 and 3, I'll just see which one I like better. But the reason why I came back out here wasn't just because of that. The other one, when it comes to sound quality, that the Samsung seems to lose on is the wind reduction. And this actually made me feel better about not having to use the wind reduction on this little microphone itself, which that is currently off. You've probably heard it as well. The Samsung, or let me say it like this, both action cameras have their own wind reduction built in them. And that explains to why the videos I was watching with people having wind reduction off, while their background noise still wasn't all that bad. It was very good. You didn't hear too much. You didn't hear too much wind. And that's why I kept saying, I'm going to use it without wind reduction. But when I listen to the phone, the wind is everywhere. You can hear it so clear, a little too clear. But the action cameras, when I went to look at those, you can't hear it. So right now, we're still chilling at about 12 to 13 miles per hour winds with probably like 14 miles per hour gusts, maybe 15. And y'all let me know. Maybe it's just me, but I don't hear the wind. And we can pan. I mean, you can see that tree behind me. You can see the way it's moving. If we just have to, we can get closer to these bushes. It's windy. It's windy. But you just don't hear it in these action cameras. Look at that, looks like I'm truly vlogging now. And again, that is because the wind reduction that is already built into these cameras are already doing the work like they would with any other external microphone you would plug into them. Therefore, when it comes to the wind reduction, the action cameras win all the way. And that's a plus, because again, one of the other tests I'm doing, is it possible that I could take this Ace Pro, can it replace my Samsung Galaxy Note 10 when it comes to this third-person perspective, when I'm unboxing things, when I'm reviewing other people's bikes? Can this be the camera to replace the Samsung? And that factor would be microphone quality, especially with this CM28, camera quality, and honestly, I don't know if this has the camera quality, I don't know if it has the sound quality, but what it does have is the durability. So now the wind's picking up, and I'm still curious to how the wind sounds. But besides one last test we have to do, and that is going to be me walking up to this camera and turning the decibels from 2 to 3, because I actually almost forgot to do that, because what I'm doing right now as I turn the decibels up is I'm ending this. I'm ending it all. So now we're on decibel 3. Is it even better? Is it match the Samsung? Do you like that it matches the Samsung? Or is it just too loud? Is it picking up a little too much now? It's still quite breezy out here. Actually, you see the trees behind me, you see the bushes. Breeze picked up even more. I just can't tell because it's officially hot as fuck. There's no more shade. The sun is completely gleaming on this entire backyard. But this is the last test. How does it sound at decibel level 3? Because again, both GoPro 12 and Ace Pro were at the same volume level, and it was a bit lower than the Samsung, and I felt like, you know what, I think I'm gonna want it a little louder. But with that being the last test of decibel 3, I think it's about time I finally say this. And as we've done enough testing, this is all the testing that needed to be done. From the camera test to the chin mount. I didn't talk about the chin mount. I've had it on for a week or more, And the only two problems I'm having so far is that at first, when I first set it on, put the alcohol on, wiped up the helmet, and then I did the heat, vroom vroom. That's not how a heat gun sounds. Stuck it up on there, and then for a while, waited 24 hours. But after the 24 hours and a few days of it sitting on my table, because I have a J hook that comes out from under the chin like that, it was sitting on the table. I guess the weight started to push down, so it lifted it up. So the adhesive didn't come off the helmet. The plastic piece came off the adhesive, the mount. So I had to heat the shit out of it. I think I heated up a little too much. I started smelling it. And I stuck it on there, and it's been good ever since. But now the top is starting, the top plastic coming off the adhesive, not the helmet. The mount top is starting to slowly peel off because I've been riding with it, testing it out. So I just heated the shit out of that, and now about 9:40 p.m. it'll be 24 hours until that's fully heated up. So besides that, it's been staying on. It's just now that I guess that side needs a little more heat and up on there. But again, all the testing has been done, from the cameras to the chin mount to now this microphone. I look back at the footage, like I said, sounds good. Sadly, of course, as I expected, the Ace Pro still sounds the worst, but I think it still sounds good enough to do a lot with. Y'all let me know. So with all that testing being done, I think it's about time I finally end all this shit. Okay, this video is long as hell. I'm sure nobody minds a long video, but I got a lot to edit. But with all that being said, I think it's about time I finally end the video here. But of course, before I do that, there's one more thing I want to throw in. As anybody who's out there, if you're a vlogger, if you just want to see more of a vlogger's perspective, I would definitely have all the action cameras. If you want an action camera to vlog with, I think you already know it had to be the Ace Pro. Simply because of this little screen right here. Yes, for the outro, I'm not using my old ass Samsung. Look how fucked up this phone is. I really need a new phone. I'm using the Ace Pro right now. So this little screen is really nice, and you know, when you want to walk around, you can really see what you're looking at. Galaxy Note, I would have to use a selfie camera, and the selfie camera is just, you know, not as good as the back camera. So I can't see my positioning. I can't see if I'm too far or if I am just too goddamn close. I can't see. As a vlogger, I would definitely have to recommend the Ace Pro. It's a decent camera. I haven't dealt with any glitches. I still am on update 1.0.21. So if you are dealing with glitches and you've updated, those new updates might not be that good. Again, I haven't updated because I want manual settings for pure video. Guys, microphone. So again, I think it's about time I finally end this video off. I'm sure it's long enough. Hope I did enough tests for y'all, but if you enjoyed this, do not subscribe if you're here for more camera content, because besides the fact that I will be updating y'all on what happens with these two cameras in the last few weeks left that I have with them before I can send them back, and then maybe like a 6-month long or a 1-year long review of having these cameras if I keep them long enough. Besides that, this is not a camera channel, so I will not be doing a bunch of random camera testing. I only wanted to do this because I thought it would be a great idea, since I decided to get these cameras for myself, to test them for anybody else. A very and truly unbiased and non-sponsored review with both of these cameras. But if you are into projects, I build those when I can, or if you're into e-bikes and motovlogging, I do that all the time. If you enjoy that type of stuff, then you might want to hit that subscribe button and get electrified with the rest of the people. Again, it has been, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about these settings, these cameras, and I'm out. Peace.